Alright, everybody, welcome back to a brand new PTCGO video, and today we're going to be taking a look at a Giratina EX deck. So, Giratina EX is one of the more interesting EXs to come out of Ancient Origins. It's kind of like a Seismitoad on steroids, if that makes any sense. So, to start things off, it has a very strong ability. Prevent all effective attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Mega Pokemon. So, stuff like Mega Manectric, Mega Gardevoir, Primal Groudon, you know, Mega Gengar, I don't know, just any Mega Evolution cannot damage this Pokemon, which is extremely strong. Because there are a lot of Mega Pokemon out there that are pretty popular, especially with X and Y on now being the format. Mega Pokemon could be a little more stronger, especially stuff like Mega Manectric. So, having this ability is extremely nice. But that's not really why this card is good. Not because of that pretty nice ability, it's because of the attack Chaos Wheel. Chaos Wheel, for a grass, a psychic, and 2 colorless, does 100 damage. However, your opponent cannot play any Pokemon tool cards, special energy, or stadium cards from his or her hand during his or her next turn. So they can't play stuff like Fighting Stadium, Fairy Garden, Skyfield. They can't play Muscle Band, Head Ringer, uh, Float Stone if you're playing an expanded. They can't play, Lucky Helmet. And then they also can't play stuff like Double Colorless, Strong Energy, and stuff like that. So, just all around a very solid attack. 100 damage, 2 shot stings, which isn't really a bad thing. Plus, the effect is strong, especially against decks that rely super heavily on special energy cards. This card destroys those decks. If you're relying on special energy cards, you're probably not going to have a good time against Giratina. So, what partners well Giratina? We have the 100 damage attack. Well, Vileplume. Now, Vileplume has the ability Irritating Pollen, which basically, if this card is in play, each player can't play item cards. Well, that means you can't play item cards, and, most decks rely on items. Well, we don't really need to rely on items. Now that the format has changed over a little bit, item cards aren't really that important. I mean, they still are important, but we don't have, like, all the crazy items that we had, like Computer Search, Hypnotoxic Laser, just Random Receiver, all kinds of just crazy OP item cards. Well, we kind of lost a few of them, Max Potion, lasers, all those item cards. Well, they're kind of, not going to be used. And even now, we still see a lot of item cards like Level Ball, Ultra Ball, Versus Seeker, Trainer's Mail, tool cards. Vileplume comes in handy. And it will be annoying because if you can't play items, that will hurt you quite a bit. When you're locked from playing items, special energies, tool cards, and stadiums, that is pretty big. So, I mean, basically, this deck sets up, it's basically like a Seismitoad EX deck on steroids, almost. Now, we do need some other partners, because Giratina can't really do all the work by itself. So we do run 2 Miltanks, just because Vileplume is a stage 2, and there may come a moment where, we might need to use Powerful Friends. This deck kind of, I'd say, is an auto-loss to Regice, so Miltank kind of helps us out against Regice a little bit. We could do, the 80 damage to it, 2-shot it. Even though they could switch to the Manectric, we do have that Giratina, so Miltank is just a nice non-EX attacker we may need. It's also a nice little, attacker. We also play 2 Hydreigans. I don't think we're ever going to need these Pokemon. But we're never really going to attack with these. But we will use its ability just to give Giratina free retreat. If we can get 2 of these into play, Giratina does have free retreat. So we will play the 2 Hydreigans. And then we also play 2 Unknowns. Just, nice little draw support card if you ever need to just play it down, draw a card. And we'll get into why we really need that in a minute. And then we also play 2 Shaman EXs. Like I said, Shaman just there for, being Shaman. Some other stuff, we got 2 level balls just to search out for maybe our unknowns, but our Gluminadishes. But really, to get Vileplume in play, instead of using Rare Candy, we actually have Forest of Giant Plants. This card really is annoying and expanded, but What this card allows you to do is basically you can play down those grass Pokemon. So if you somehow manage to get a Vileplume, a Gloom, and an Oddish all in your hand, you can just play all three of them down right away. So that means you can turn one Vileplume them. So that's why we played the Forest of Giant Plants in here. It allows us to get the Vileplume and play really quickly and get that lockup really fast. And, we got Level Ball, search out those Gloom and Oddishes. 2 Trainer's Mail, like I said, we do need some kind of way to get our, items so that we can quickly get this Vileplume going. We got 4 Ultra Balls. 3 might be better, but I got this deck list off of 6 prizes, I think. Either 6 prizes or 60 cards. I forget what website. I know I got this off of a website. I think it was 6 prizes. I can't remember, though, because I made this deck list about a week ago. No, I'm just kidding. That joke is so old now. But I made this deck list about a week ago off of, I think, 6 prizes. But we do play 4 Ultra Balls. We got 2 Verse Seekers. We don't need to play any more than 2 since we do have Vileplume. We have 1 Ace Trainer, just something to try out in this deck since N is gone. Just testing out Ace Trainer to see if it's any good. We have 1 AZ. A cool thing about AZ and Forest of Giant Plants, most people will try and Lysander Vileplume and try and keep it trapped in the active spot. Well, you can actually play AZ if you have Forest Giant Plants in play. You can actually AZ the Vileplume and then immediately play right back down after with the Forest of Giant Plants being in play. So it's just a cool combo to use. It's just nice to, get that out of the active spot. We have 2 Lysanders. Just, it's Lysander. It's a nice card. We got 2 Birch's Observations, draw support. Like I said, I don't know what the best draw support is for X and Y on. I don't know if we should run like 4 Sycamores, 4 Shaunas, 4 Birch. I mean, okay, that's overkill, but I don't know if we need to play, I don't know what it is. So I would say 4 Sycamores, 3 Shaunas, 2 Birch. That should be good for draw support, in my opinion. Since we already have Shaman in the format and Unknown, I think that's fine for draw support. And we also play Team Flare Gun. I hate this card a lot, but basically, if we have an item lock going and then they try to attach an energy, if they're relying on special energy, we can discard that energy and kind of slow them down a little bit. Then we also play, like I said, 4 Giant Plants. And then we got 3 Muscle Bands. Just, we can get these quickly onto the Giratina and the Miltanks and whatnot. And we got 4 Double Dragon and 4 DCEs just because that's kind of what we need. We put the Double Dragon on for the Grass and Psychic, and then we put the DCE on for the 2 colorless so we can attack. And then we play 2 Grass Energies just for the Miltanks and whatnot. So, yeah, that is the Giratina deck. So, let's go try it out in a game I got on PTCGO. Alright, guys, here we go with the game I got here on PTCGO with the Giratina Vileplume deck. Hopefully, we can show it off against a deck that relies super heavily on special energies and item cards. And we start with the Hydreigon, not the best start in the world. We see an Eevee. I'm assuming this is a stage 1 deck with the Evolution. I'm gonna play an Ultra Ball here. I'm gonna grab a Giratina since I'm already gonna just discard this hand regardless. So let's just get a Giratina, DCE, Muscle Band, Sycamore, and okay, not the best hand in the world. I think I'm gonna play this Trainer's Mail. Grab that Birch just so we have a supporter for next turn. We'll drop another thing down. Play the Unknown down, and hopefully, we get something here. Oh, we got the Oddish. Hopefully, we can get a Vileplume going, and it looks like that's not going to be the case. So we're going to have to pass. Unfortunately, we don't have a great start going for us. Our hand is pretty bad. Well, our hand's not bad, but we didn't really get the start that we wanted, which is a little disappointing. But it's all good in the hood. We see a level ball, so this is most likely a stage 1 deck. Might be Vespiquen, actually, which isn't bad because Vespiquen relies super heavily on double colorless, and we can shut that off. That can really hurt them. So we see an Unknown come down, so this probably is some kind of Vespiquen deck, I'd assume. Taking a peek in my discard pile, seeing what we got. We see a Battle Compressor from our opponent. Probably can discard cards, so this is definitely a Vespiquen deck if we see the Battle Compressor. Most likely is going to be a Vespiquen deck, which is interesting. My big plan here is to get another Hydreigon going this turn so that we can retreat the Giratina if we can get a Stadium and a Hydreigon, and then we can start putting that lockup with the Renegade Pulse or Chaos Wheel or whatever the attack's called. Chaos Wheel sounds like a freaking TV show. So we see Fires and Blacksmith, so this is actually going to be a Vespiquen Blacksmith deck, which is a different take on Vespiquen. I might actually make a video on that. But basically, with Flareon, Vespiquen becomes a fire type, meaning you can use Blacksmith, and it's a nice way to not have to waste your DCEs and whatnot, and it's an interesting deck. We see a fire go on the EV. He's probably going to grab a Flareon here with the ability, which is fine. Hopefully we can do something here. Yep, we see the Flareon come down, and we don't see a Combi yet, which is interesting. Another Battle Compressor coming from my opponent. Probably going to discard more Pokemon he doesn't need. We'll see what he discards, so you never know. He might not even discard what he needs. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we don't see a Combi come down yet, which could be interesting. We can win if we can get a nice hand going this turn. Yep, there we see my opponent pass. So if we can get a good hand going here, we can actually win. So we're actually going to play this Birch instead of the Sycamore. I don't want to lose his hand just yet. And yep, there we go. And we didn't get the Forest Giant Plants or the Hydreigon, so I'm not going to really waste that Ultra Ball. Wait, no, maybe I can. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Looks like I'm actually, yeah, looks like we'll play the Ultra Ball, I guess. Why? Oh, maybe not. I don't know. It's a tough spot. I don't really need to play it, but whatever. I guess I'm going to have to play it here. We'll see what happens. And I guess I am going to play the Ultra Ball. I'm not going to grab a Shaman just because I want to save bench space. I'm actually going to grab an Unknown here, just because I don't want to play another Pokemon down that isn't a Hydreigon. So play an Unknown because it is going to leave our field anyways. I'm checking my deck here, seeing where all my cards are. We see the AZ, which could be good to get this Hydreigon out of the active spot. So I think I'm just going to grab the Unknown here. I could have grabbed Shaman, but I mean, must be a little bit of a misplay. And oh, off that Unknown, we actually got the AZ that we needed. So we can win next turn if my opponent cannot get another Pokemon into play or knock out Hydreigon. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But we actually got a really... I'm surprised we got that AZ off the Unknown. That was pretty big, I'm not going to lie. That helped us out a lot. So, we'll see what my opponent does from here. If he doesn't get rid of Hydreigon or... Hey, wait, he can't end me! That's actually a really good feeling to be like, oh, I have a great hand here. You know, next turn I can use this hand and get some really nice play off. But because N has rotated, well, you can actually play those cards without having to, you know, worry. And my opponent can't really play Ace Trainer. I mean, they can play Red Card, but... I mean, who the hell plays Red Card nowadays? So, we'll see what happens. We see Shaman, and oh no, it's that annoying discard pile glitch where you can't look at your discard pile or your opponent's. Very annoying glitch. I'm surprised they haven't fixed it yet. I really hope they fix that because I hate that glitch. Especially because my opponent is playing a deck that relies super heavily on Pokemon in the discard pile. It's a little annoying that I can't look, but we're going to have to deal with it, I guess. It's a little frustrating, though. But we'll see what happens here. My opponent played the Shaman. I think the game's being a little glitchy, so we're going to have to wait. I'm pretty sure my opponent did set up and got the cards, but, you know, the game's being glitchy, so it's not really going to work. So we'll see what happens, I guess. Hopefully, there we go, the game unglitched. And we see an Ultra Ball. Can't look at his discard pile. And there we see a Combi come down. So, looks like he's going to try and get a Vespiquen going next turn. Next turn, we can knock out the Flareon, which I like because Flareon would allow him to bypass Chaos Wheel. Because if he hadn't played, he could Blacksmith, get the Fire Energies onto the Flareon, onto the Vespiquen, without having to worry about the Chaos Wheel to just get rid of those DCEs. So that's actually pretty big. And if we can get rid of Flareon this turn, that would be great. And we see a Lysander bring up the Gloom, so it looks like he's actually going to knock out Gloom here, which is a decent play. I mean, Vileplume would hurt him a little bit. But not the end of the world. I don't even think we need to really worry about the Vileplume at this point. You know, if we can get that Chaos Wheel going, we should be in good shape. So I'm not too worried about that. And there we see him knock out the Gloom. Not a bad position. We can actually play Ace Trainer or Shauna. Or, yeah, we did go with Ace Trainer. Why not try that card out? And it looks like we actually can go with the Gloom next turn. So we might actually get Vileplume into play. If we can get a Forest Giant Plants or like an Ultra Ball, I don't know. We'll have to. We can get Vileplume into play basically. So hopefully we can get that going soon. My opponent plays Faded Town, so I mean that allows him to do more damage to Megas. But unfortunately, we don't run any Mega Evolutions. We rely on Giratina. Faded Town could be a nice second stadium to run in this deck. I don't know. But we'll see. So we actually see him bring out the. We just see him bring out Pikachu. I'm actually just gonna Lysander the Vespiquen. I'm just going to get it out of play just because I don't want him to attack me with it. And I don't even think my opponent can win at this point. We have another Giratina ready soon. We can play another Hydreigon down. And no, I'm actually going to discard it. I don't know why I did that, but whatever. We're going to grab a Vileplume, get that item lock going. we'll go for that, and bing bang boom, we'll just play Chaos Wheel for 120 damage. Yeah, my opponent, I think, yeah, he lost it. There's like really no way he can win at this point. And yeah, we see a pass, and we're just gonna go for a Chaos Wheel for 120, knock out the Shaman. Now my opponent pretty much lost. I don't think he can win at this point. There's really nothing he can do. We might just see him concede here, and yeah, we see him concede, and there you have it, guys. We got 15 tokens, which is cool, and we got 18 tokens, even better. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This deck, we were able to show off how deadly the Giratina can be if you manage to shut off the whole special energies. We saw my opponent. I mean, he couldn't do anything because Giratina kind of just shut him down from playing his only way to attack me, which really kind of put my opponent in such a bad spot. He just immediately just had to concede. There's no way he could win. So, very interesting game. Great way to show off the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys on another video. Adios.